I think you can record little bits of conversation, but I don't think it really has to drag on.
Mm-hmm.
You can get an idea of what's going on in half that time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alright, what is today? Today is Sunday.
It's cloudy.
Cloudy. And it's wet because it rained last night.
My head hurts because I drank some rum last night.
My head doesn't hurt because I didn't drink that much rum last night.
You drank as much as I did.
Yeah, I don't feel so hot.
You have to get out.
Yep. We want to make 15 miles today so that we can reach the house where the two girls live that we met yesterday, Eleanor and Jacqueline. They invited us in for some beers, but we have to get there before 5 because that's when they're leaving. Let's go for it. Yep.
Baptized population.
Okay, we're in Salisbury, Connecticut at the Ragamont Inn, and it's been raining all day, and we're not going to reach the house with the two girls in it because it's just too far away. We're running kind of low on food, and we expected to find some in Salisbury today, but it's Sunday. But probably we'll be able to get some tomorrow. So we're going to try and camp 4 miles away from here. We reached that campsite. However, we walked by it, had to retrace our footsteps for a mile. It was raining pretty much the whole time. And when we got to the campsite, official Connecticut campsite, we stood around, relaxed a little bit, waiting for a break in the rain, and when it was pretty constant drizzle, we decided we should set up anyway. And just as we got the tent up, it started pouring, and did about continuously for about 2 or 3 hours, and really soaked everything. And in the middle of all that big downpour, the group of about 6 girls and 2 guys and a couple who were leading them, high school seniors and a teacher, showed up and freezing. All of them were freezing. They set up the tents, and we watched them like little ants looking out of their anthill, safe from the rain. And they started a fire, but it was raining so much we didn't even dare venture to join them. In the morning, we did, however. They gave us 2 hot dogs, and here come some cars. I'm gonna have to turn this off. I took my first shit after joining Jimi about 15 minutes ago, and Jimi just took his noon shit. We stopped off in Falls Village and munched out and stocked up on granola and bread and
cheese and salami.
Cheese and salami. Yeah, salami's a new experiment.
Yeah, I ate 3 table talk pies, pint of ice cream, quart of milk, half a loaf of bread, and let's see, I'm gonna eat an orange real soon.
And that's just a mid-morning snack, because we already ate, the hot dogs, the granola, and the bread.
Bread and oatmeal.
And oatmeal for breakfast. It's Monday night. I think it's June 30th. We've been out now for almost 3 weeks. I've been out maybe 6 days during the beginning, 3 recently. And we're camped out here at Dean's Ravine. You probably can hear the water running in the background. And it's getting late. The sun's setting right now. We've pitched camp. We're letting everything dry out from last night. It rained this morning, but it started clearing this afternoon. And it's turned into a really beautiful day. We've got a really nice campsite. I just went swimming. Water's not really that cold, considering I guess it's from in the mountains. So I was able to sit in there for quite a while. Got myself all cleaned up, feel really refreshed. Jimmy and I played frisbee before I went in, so I was even a little bit sweaty as I took a dip. Jimmy's sitting up now on a ledge overlooking this river. And today was really fun. We only did like 6 miles, so it was really easy. My feet don't hurt hardly at all, even though I wore the boots all day. First day in the boots. And I'm really psyched about this trip. Tomorrow we'll be really refreshed and we probably can go a long way. And it looks like it's going to be a nice day too. So I'm really psyched. And we've still got 6 or 7 to go.
Yep.
And we're pretty burnt. At least I am. We're alright though. And we're gonna stay at Dark Entry Ravine. Walking's been pretty flat. Flatter than it's been. And I repacked my pack this morning in such a way that the weight's closer to my back, which makes it a lot easier to walk with it. So that's encouraging. Oh, we figured out that it's June 3rd, July 1st today, Tuesday, July 1st. 3 weeks since we started in Boston. Ta-da! Ugh! Ugh! I've got a bad blister on my foot, on my little toe on my left foot, and I'm aching all over because we hiked 13 miles yesterday. I got another not so bad blister on my left foot, so I'm gonna hike in my flats today. We got up pretty late today because we were really beat. Last night it took us an hour to get the fire started. So by the time we ate it was dark and we were both totally munched out. Totally munched. We ran into a guy who was doing the Appalachian, well, Georgia to Maine. We talked with him for like an hour. It's part of the reason we were so late. So today will be an easy day, hopefully. Maybe we'll hit a laundromat, and we'll go and. You have a sewing kit? Yep. Yep. And we'll definitely hit a store today where we can munch out, get some good food, restock. Today's July 2nd, I guess. Wednesday. Well, here we are. Where are we, Jimmy? What town are we in?
What?
What town are we in? We're in Cornwall or something, right?
Cornwall Bridge.
Cornwall Bridge. And we're hanging out on the porch of the general store because it's raining outside pretty hard. And Jimmy's reading Landers and the comics. And my feet hurt still, not too bad. And I wrote Grant's postcard with a picture of an oak tree where George Washington sat down and had a conference on his way to make a treaty with the French. And nothing much else is happening. We gotta wait till the rain stops because it just doesn't make any sense to get all wet to go a few miles, you know. The rain's good though because it'll make New York, put more water in New York, which is what we need. Because we ran into a guy who said he had to carry a half a gallon with him every day to make sure he made it to the next water hole. Well, I'm sitting here next to Fred the cat, still on the porch of this general store here in Cornwall Bridge. And across the street is R&S Grant. Okay, that's the name of the place. Restoration of Antiques and Furniture Repair. And that guy's got a nice little wooden, kind of barn-like structure. And he has a nice picture window, and I can see, a shaper and a pegboard with chisels and a saw and a drill press and really nicely laid out. And I guess what he does is makes repairs and restores furniture or whatever. And it looks, that's the kind of business I want to be in, something like that, where you go at your own pace, you're your own boss, and you're not doing anything keeping a low profile with regard to the environment. And except perhaps I would make it more general, just about everything. Let's say not
Claude's
just furniture. Yeah, Claude's Fix It, and it would have these this little motto, kind of like the Romans had SPQR, right, or whatever it is. Well, I would have the same thing, but it would say NFSM. Okay. And, period, period, period. And people would come and ask me, what does that mean? And I would go, no finite state machines. And then they'd ask, well, what does that mean? And I would have to say, well, it's a long story, but if you're willing to sit and listen, I'll tell it to you, And I think that's how I would define it. Fix everything except finite state machines. Hello, Mission Control. We're having problems with some of the equipment. The boots, the space boots, apparently weren't fitted correctly. And the left component is on the small side. We're trying now a jury rig experiment here, which we will report on later. We're on the banks of the Housatonic River, on the right bank going downstream, if you like, west bank. And the forest is pretty wet. Came through a lot of tall grass. Got shoes and socks really soaked, and the front of my shorts soaked. And also saw a fawn come running over a little rise right at me until it saw me, which was like when it was 5 feet away, and then it took off into the lower parts of the field. That was pretty neat. They don't seem too scared of people. Not as much as and also not as aware of people, because the bigger ones seem to sense you like 100 yards away. Over and out.
The town of Collins.
Hello, good morning. It's July 3rd, 1980. And we're at Kent, Massachusetts. We're gonna go off of the river road and up to Mount Algo. And this morning we met a guy called the Tramper, Todd the Tramper. And he's also a northbounder from Georgia. So we've met quite a few of those guys now. So let's run over who they were.
I forget.
Okay, well there's Roger Sessler. Then there was his buddy who was older
62.
but faster, 62. Then we met the kid, I think, and Jeff Carter, and Todd the Tramper. Oh, we also met a guy yesterday in the general store. I don't know what his name was though. But as we meet them later and later down the trail, the mellower they seem to get. Feet still kind of hurt, but I think we're gonna see our way through. The feet are gonna see their way through this misery. Okay, we've got two additions to the northbounder Maine to Georgia to Maine list. We've got the nuclear engineer from Lowell Tech, who worked down at Oak Ridge and then at Portsmouth, and who said he got bored with it, whatever that means, and decided to do this before he'd do anything else. And then we've also got Craig, a guy from Eastham or whatever on Cape Cod, UMass student of forestry, who's going up the trail slowly but surely, taking time off here and there. Pretty mellow guy. We got his address. We're gonna drop him a line. He's really psyched about our idea of walking across the country. Thinks he's gonna do the Pacific Crest Trail. As a matter of fact, the guy in the store yesterday also said that he was considering doing that. So we've got a lot of people who seem to be hooked on hiking. We met Stan and Eric last night at Thayer Brook, 2 miles north of the Connecticut-New York border, the Nikon border. And also a guy called the Philosopher. And then they all camped out Thayer Brook, and we went up and bullshitted with them. They came up with this great idea called free men walking a free trail in a free country to free the hostages. You know, it's kind of a gimmick to get sympathy from people along the way. You know, so you get free handouts, stuff like that. We're considering doing it. It's a cool idea. It's July 4th today. I walked 2 miles from Thayer Brook, I guess. I don't know, maybe just a mile. And it's really sunny, the first sunny day we've had like in a week, which is really nice. Matter of fact, I've been out now just about a week because it's Friday. This evening I've been out for a week. So after we bullshitted with those guys for a while, ate dinner together. We ate our food, they ate theirs. These two guys who we'd seen earlier that afternoon, or that evening, came back down from a pond up on the hill with some trout, and they gave us 3. And Jimi cooked them up. We ate that. By the time we finished, it was dark, and so we didn't have a flashlight. As Jimi and I were going back to our tent, stumbling over rocks and bushes, we realized that we didn't know where it was, and well, there we were, lost. So we put the mats down and just hung out. I'll finish the story later. So there we were, about 10 feet from the brook, and it was pretty steep. We could barely find some place big enough to put the mats down, you know, so that we wouldn't be lying on top of tree stumps or rocks or something. And we were just hanging out, you know, waiting for it to get light. And I fell asleep maybe for like an hour, or I don't know how long, 2 hours or something. And then the moon came out, and I cruised, I did about a 10-15 yard radius around where we were towards the river, and I couldn't recognize anything. I didn't see any, you know, anything that looked familiar. So I came back. Jimi was up by then, and then he decided that he'd go exploring and went downstream disappeared for quite a while, and all of a sudden I see this light, you know, coming up from down the hill, and I thought, oh great, he's found a flashlight, the flashlight from the campsite, you know. And he comes up and it's a cigarette lighter, and he had gone all the way down to a campsite at the bottom of the, I guess the bottom of the river or whatever, and stole a lighter off of a cooler, you know. People were asleep, and he was flicking it up, you know, and finding his way up, and it turned out we were like 50 yards downstream of where we thought, you know, the tent was. Or we were 50 yards downstream of the tent, and we thought that was where the tent was. So we got back, and boy, was it nice to be inside the tent. I mean, you know, there's nothing like having to sleep outside to make the tent seem like home, you know. Boy, we would have been in trouble if it had started raining or something. We would have been frozen to death. But it was pretty warm, luckily. Anyway, what else oh yeah. Yesterday we learned that the name of our tent is a Starflight. And we also learned something else. Oh, Stan and Eric are from St. Louis, and we got addresses. Actually, they're from Illinois, metropolitan St. Louis area. And we have their address. We may go visit them. But yeah, free hikers hiking a free trail in a free country to free the hostages. Definitely sounds really good. Well, I guess. Oh, Flatfoot is Jeff Carter's called Flatfoot. The kid. He's got that funny logo there with his feet. The kid on the AT. On the AT. We're at the New York. We're at the Nikon border, reading the register here, reading all about Warren Doyle, the man from the University of Connecticut who everybody hates because he thinks he's so great because he hikes the trail so fast, and he does it by using no equipment at all. We've just gotten to the part of the register that's like really recent, you know. Here we have a listing for Paula Schnitzer and Anne-Marie Chasen. We met both of them. They're the Ridge Runners in Connecticut. Here's Dave Crary, the Ramblin' Guy, Eastham, Mass. New England at last, almost to my home state. Hi to those behind: Barbara, Dave, Jay, Daryl, Reppin, Riles, et al. Oh, we're gonna meet a guy called, guy with a beard, a lot of camera equipment, Odie Coyote. Yeah, here we have Stan Weatherly and Eric O'Curry, along with, that must be the philosopher. The PO, post office will open Saturday, 8/12. For anyone interested, the yellow and orange jewel weed, sometimes called touch me nots, is out. Break a stem and use on insect bites and poison ivy. It is natural.
It's a bunch of crap. It's a cortisone source, is what he's saying.
Take me home. Fourth of July!
Hey, you got any change?
Yeah.
50 cents?
Alright, a burger
Put
and a
these
Coke.
two in there. Oh, have a burger and
A burger and a Coke! It's Saturday, July 5th. And we've taken the day to do laundry. Last night was obviously the 4th of July, and we made it to Edward Morrow State Park here in Pauling, New York. Just around 7:30, 8 o'clock. The band was playing. It was a big party. Hot dogs, hamburgers, everything. It was really a great feeling just to walk in there and grab a bite to eat. So I had like 2 hamburgers and 2 sausage and peppers. Felt really stuffed. Had about 4 beers. Felt got a pretty good buzz. because I was so thirsty. And so I went to sleep around 11 o'clock, but it was kind of hard. It was on the grass, you know, without the tent set up, and there's still people lighting off firecrackers, people running around yelling, trying to figure out where they should sleep and stuff like that. So but I guess I got 6 hours maybe sleep, I don't know. Feel pretty whipped today, but I think that's more from walking so far yesterday, 16 miles, you know. Called home, talked to my mother and father. We're going to meet them in about a week in New Jersey at High Point State Park probably. And my guess is we'll stay at Edward Morrow tonight, simply because here we are at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, still in town, and the next place to stop is 12 miles away, and we certainly can't make that by nighttime. So it's really good to have clean clothes, and we've stocked back up on food again, and that's about it, I guess. Over and out. Jimmy just bought an American flag. Jimmy just bought an American flag. And he's put it on top of his pack. And we're going to call ourselves, our nicknames on the trail are going to be Captain America. Jimmy's going to be Captain America, and I'm going to be Uncle Sam. And the idea is that, well, so far, and the idea is kind of that this will focus political attention, or we will be able to gather information more readily about the U.S. this way.
Well, I'm doing it more. I'm just doing it because I think it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's no, it's not.
Doing it analytically at all.
Yeah, it's not that premeditated. That's the von Rosgen interpretation of it. But no, I think it's going to be good that way, and it'll provide us with a theme, which is good. So I'll have to get a picture of Jimmy with his American flag. Today must be the 6th of July. Yesterday we met a guy called Tom Reed. His father's a USC professor in electrical engineering. Invented the Reed-Miller code or something like that used in image processing, perhaps. Works for NASA and stuff like that. Anyway, this guy is 23, and he's been all over the world, and has some talk to him about his ideas, which are similar to mine. So that was fun to find somebody who agreed with me. He's an isolationist vis-a-vis U.S. foreign policy, and really he believes that the Soviet Union, he has an interesting idea about the Soviet Union and the United States, that they're both very similar, and that they are a force in the world who are working to get, they're a force in the world working together to structure the world in a way similar to well, in an industrial consumer society. He's given us an address in Santa Monica, so I'll have to go visit him whenever I get out there. I guess it's July 6th today, and it's pretty cool, amazingly cool. Scattered clouds, very sunny otherwise, and actually really good hiking weather. It's almost too cool when the sun goes behind a cloud and you're just sitting still. I've never seen so many no trespassing signs in my life. It's very, there's so many that you begin to feel a certain hostility, which is not really nice. I don't know, that may be just a facade, but they have many of these ugly black with orange letters, you know, signs you buy at the hardware store and tack up on your tree. It's really annoying. Jimmy got bit by a dog this morning, just a little one, nipped him at the ankle. Broke the skin though. Dogs are pretty much a hassle. They're always barking.
Budweiser does me fine. I'm working on number 9. BD's taking care of us all. Going to the beach to play volleyball.
Today is July 7th, Monday. We left on July 10th. I mean June 10th, on Tuesday morning. Anyway, we just crossed the Conic State Parkway. We're a day and a half away from Graymoor Monastery, where we'll get a chance to pig out.
After that, we're going to have to speed up to 15 miles a day.
Yeah, we've been doing about 10 miles a day.
We're going to have to go to 15.
And then we'll be able to stay at Roger's Appalachian Cottage, Crazy Roger. And then we'll see my parents and then Church of the Mountain near the Delaware Water Gap. So we've got 4 nice places to stay in the next couple weeks. And we met 2 girls last night, Melanie and Julie. They're sisters, 17 or 18 and 21, whatever.